In this video, I'm going to share 3 simple and effective video editing techniques used by professionals to make your video flow better. Coming up. Have you ever tried to make a video and spent hours filming your content, but when you try to edit it, you get frustrated because it really doesn't work out and it doesn't seem to flow smooth? Then these top 3 tips that I'm about to share today is going to set that frustration to the rest. Hello and welcome back to yet another Jinius day, all about great tips and tricks in making videos. So if you're interested in making videos online, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. That way you don't miss out any more tips or tricks in the future. And I'm a full-time YouTube producer based here in South Korea. With that being said, I use all these 3 tips almost every day for the videos that I make for my company to make them flow as smooth as possible. Also, FYI, I'm not gonna talk about any technical stuffs on how to do these cuts in certain specific programs such as Final Cut or Premiere or DaVinci Resolve, because all you really need to know in order to do these 3 techniques is just know how to make a simple cut in the program that you like to use. So without any further ado, let's get into the tip number 1. Tip number 1 is the most important tip that I can possibly share, is to use B-rolls and insert shots. The biggest difference between a good video from not so good video is a good video has lots of details to make the viewers understand the content creator's intention and what they want to focus on. And the most effective way to achieve this is by using B-roll or insert shots. So let's talk about what they are. B-roll is the extra footage captured to enrich the story that you're telling to have greater flexibility when editing. Instead of featuring only talking heads on video, you want to have other images that you can cut away to that will add dimension to your story. What does it mean though? B-roll is just a clip or an image that you place it on top of your main talking clip. So notice how I showed you the screenshot of the very definition of B-roll from Google. That way my viewers can understand what I'm seeing and what I want them to focus, which is the definition of B-roll in this case. Similarly, insert shots are detailed shots of the stuff that you're talking about. For example, if I'm talking about Osmo Mobile 4 that I reviewed just last week, instead of me talking about it, I can just run the images of it so then my viewers know what I'm talking about and they can pay attention to the product rather than my face. Also, if you watch any news channels, you'll see it's full of insert shots, so that way it helps the viewers to visualize the scene and the story instead of just an anchor's face. Plus, B-rolls are great when it comes to editing because you can hide your jump cuts, so make sure to incorporate lots of B-rolls and insert shots whenever you can to make your viewers understand what you're talking about. Tip number 2 of video editing techniques is L cuts and J cuts, or is it this way? These 2 methods are my personal favorite because it can make your video flow so smoother with very little additional effort. And what they really are is not syncing your video and audio for a brief second when the cut is happening. A J cut is when the audio leaks into your previous clip. This is called the J cut because on your timeline it looks like the J. And here's an example of my personal favorite YouTuber Peter McKinnon in one of his vlogs.
6 a.m. Don't judge me. Alright, welcome back to the vlog, episode 2. We decided to kind of get an early head start on moving everything out of Main Street.
Notice how his speech came in first before the cut actually happened. J-cut works really well because we tend to look at where sound is coming from in real life. Therefore, when the sound is leaking to the previous video, we expect that something's gonna happen in the next visual part. Just think about you turning your head when your name is called somewhere else. In a similar manner, L-cut is when the video leaks into the previous cut. So it's sort of like the opposite of the J-cut, if that makes sense. And just like J-cut, L-cut is called the L-cut because on your timeline it looks like the L shape. L-cut is really effective in presenting the reaction. So watch this 3-second video that I make to demonstrate this point. 1 with just straight cut and 2 with an L-cut. As you can see, off syncing your audio and video between cuts can make your video flow so much smoother. The last but not the least, tip number 3 is to use a straight up titles or your banner. You've been seeing my straight up titles and they're there to enhance my video. Obviously, this kind of editing techniques does not always work depending on the videos that you're trying to make, but when it does, it is really simple and clear way to navigate your viewer through your videos. My favorite example of title or a banner is my another favorite YouTube channel channel, Film Riot. They insert this logo sequence every time when they're discussing this topic to the next topic. That way viewers know they're now in a different section of the video. But as I said, this kind of edit doesn't always work because they create pause between your edits, so be mindful of what cases that you might want to use. And moving on to the conclusion. Let's do a small recap. Tip number 1 is to use B-roll or insert shots to enhance your story and put details into your story. The tip number 2 was to use L cuts or J cuts to lead into a cut or leave away from the cut. Tip number 3 was just use straight up titles or your logo, but be mindful of when you would want to use it. And these 3 tips are all I have today. If you liked the video, if it was helpful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe because more tips and tricks are coming up very soon. Until next time. See ya! I was actually writing a script for these videos. I find that 4 or 5 tips that I prepared is more onto the shooting side. So maybe next time I'm gonna discuss the things that I learned shooting videos for other YouTube channels.